Hi, I'm Judi Friedman. I'm chairperson of PACE, People's Action for Clean Energy. We're the largest all-volunteer, and I mean all-volunteer, nonprofit group in Connecticut devoted to clean energy, and that's squeaky clean energy. And we are very interested in energy efficiency and conservation. We're very interested in renewable energy, small hydro, wind, and solar. And we're very interested in some of the new technologies that are going on. We've been around since 1975, showcasing homes that use clean energy, solar energy, good insulation, and every year we are seeing more and more wonderful technologies develop. Our organization developed in response to a nuclear plant that was going to be built in Middletown and was never built because of the outrage of Wesleyan professors and students. And we are adamantly opposed to the use of nuclear power. We're interested in clean energy because of health. We're very upset with coal mining, silting streams. We think fracking for natural gas is very, very wrong and results in the poisoning of water. Toxics and radioactivity are the children of the fracking process. We're very concerned about the use of oil. We believe that war is caused by raiding for oil, and so we see clean energy as the path not only to good health, but also to peace. And so I'm very happy to have tonight as the guest on our show a wonderful gentleman named Walter Erikson. Walter is very knowledgeable about some of these new technologies that one can use. And I happened to come on this technology because in our house we have solar PV panels, and we've had them since 2000. We just put in new ones in 2013, and we have solar hot water. We've insulated. We've done energy audits, but still there were times when some rooms were a little too cool in the winter or too hot in the summer. So what do? This is a house built in 1960. Do we rip it apart and put it in insulation all over? And we've done as much as we can with caulking and sealing. We have been using oil heat as minimally as possible. And then we discovered an amazing invention. And that is what is called, I believe, air source mini split heat pump. And Walter, can you tell us what is an air source mini split ductless heat pump? What is that?
Well, an air source ductless split heat pump essentially uses the outside ambient air to draw the energy from.
So we get our energy from the outside air, not from the water, not from oil, not from coal, but from the air?
That's correct. Second law of thermodynamics, heat moves towards cold. We can extract energy out of the outside air down to very low temperatures. The particular unit you have at your home can actually extract out down to about 7 degrees very efficiently.
So this ductless heat pump, which we added into our house, which is the unit is about this long and about this high. We put it up on the wall, and this can take the heat out of the air in the middle of winter down to 7 degrees above zero? Is that what you're saying?
That's correct. Not all units are created equal. There are some units that only work well down to about 28 degrees. This is an industry that you really do get what you pay for. This is not a new industry. This industry's been around for years. The industry is getting a lot more press now because with the cost of oil, rising cost of oil, rising cost of fossil fuels, what people are looking to try to do to get away from fossil fuels, air source heat pumps and ductless split air source heat pumps are becoming a lot more popular. They're cost effective. They're a great substitute for not ripping apart an older home like yours. You can pretty much put them almost anywhere. They're very versatile, and you really do get a very comfortable heat. Where you take conventional heating systems, whether it's forced air or forced hot water, you need to create very high temperatures, which extracts a lot of the humidity out of the air.
Yes.
These work on very low temperature.
Yes.
So you can heat your house to 70 degrees comfortably.
Yeah.
You've already done the first part that we recommend to everyone, to tighten up the house and do the conservation measures first, then start using some of the more,
Yeah, that's what I like about the heat. It's not drying.
No, it's not.
It's gentle, and you don't hear it blowing, and I just take out this little gadget like a TV wand, press on. The unit slowly opens. This lovely, gentle air comes out. I can set it at a very low nighttime, and I can set the temperature, and then I can set the rate of the fan blowing. And this lovely kind of slightly humid, but not wet air. It's a gentle air comes out.
What you're actually feeling is the air that's actually has been moving around your home. It creates its own convective loop, but because it's not drying out the air, you're feeling the home's natural humidity moving around you.
You're feeling
naturally.
the home's natural humidity when you turn this on.
Correct. It's not creating any new humidity. You're actually feeling what's already in the home because the heating system's not removing the humidity. Conventional heating systems will tend to dry out the air, whether it's oil, whether it's gas, even heat pumps. Heat pumps tend to dry air out a little bit when they're centralized, but the type of technology that this uses really removes a minimal amount of humidity from the air. It gives you a lot more flexibility, a lot more control over the humidity inside your house.
And then in the summer, if I'm too hot, then I take the little wand and just click it, and this opens up again, and this wonderful, cool air comes out, which is, again, the nice degree of moisture.
One of the great things about these ductless split heat pumps is they're awesome for controlling humidity. You can set them to remove the humidity from the air without overcooling the air. My mom, for example, probably pretty close to your age. She doesn't like it too cool, but she hates the humidity.
She's very young.
She is. She likes it comfortable and drier, but she doesn't want it to get too far below 74. My house, it's 70, 68. We like it a little bit cooler, but we like it dry also. With the ductless splits, it gives you the opportunity to really control your humidity during the summertime by removing the humidity and not it's going to make it feel cooler in the room anyway, but you're not going to drive your electric bills as well. These units have a little different technology for the way the compressors work. Instead of having a standard type compressor, which when it turns on full speed all the time, there are some of the newer units that they have 2 speeds, but these units are they're variable speed almost, where they start at a very slow speed, they spool up. It's called inversion technology, heat pumps, and if you only need a certain portion of pressure circulating the refrigerant, that's what you get. So there's a lot behind the technology that is developed.
The beautiful thing about this is that we had this older home and we needed help and we didn't want to rip everything apart. So all we have is this unit up on the wall, and then behind it outside is a pipe that looks like a drain pipe, and it's open at the bottom. That's where the air is drawn in. Is that correct?
No, actually,
No. What is that pipe for that's outside?
The pipe that's outside actually carries a refrigeration line set, a DC voltage line, and a drain tube for the air conditioning. So there's a vinyl drain tube that during the summertime, the moisture that's removed from the air drains out the back and down and out underneath.
Okay, so we painted that tube of the color of the house so you don't even see it.
Yeah.
So there's the tube. Here's this thing on the wall. Then there are pipes that run down through our basement out to a condenser on this other side of the house.
Correct.
And the condenser is about, I would say this wide and about this tall. And what does the condenser do?
The condenser basically will run in 2 different directions. The condenser has 2 main parts. There's the compressor and actually 3 main parts. There's a condenser, there is a fan, and then there's a coil. In a conventional refrigeration system, it's an evaporator coil is inside, the condenser coil is outside, and you have a condenser fan which moves air past the coil, which will extract the heat out of the refrigerant, dumping it into the outside air. Heat pumps have a reversing valve, which allows everything to flow backwards. So what it's doing is now the fan is actually drawing the air across the coil again, but absorbing the energy in the air around the coil, sending it back through the compressor, reversing. We change state from liquid to gas, transfers the energy. Now it comes out through the tubes that travel under your house, up the wall, into the unit, into another coil that has a very quiet DC, almost like a squirrel cage type of a fan that blows the air gently past it, extracts the energy. Lather, rinse, repeat.
So I have just this condenser. I have this tube outside, and then I have the unit in living room, dining room, and we put another unit at the other end of the house in our bedroom because that's the room that's been either too cold or hot, depending on the season. And that took 2 days to install.
Yep.
We've had no problems. It just goes on with a click of the hand. And to me, the beautiful thing is that it's the result of what I call a happy marriage, because it's an electric device and we have solar electric power, photovoltaics. Walter works for a wonderful solar company. There are many in this state. We've worked with many of them through PACE. This one is Ross Solar Group, and they were the chosen installers for the town of Canton for their Solarize program.
Correct.
So we took advantage of the Solarize program, as did many people in Canton, and we're very pleased with that. So we had new solar panels put in. So this heating unit is run by, especially in the summer when it's hot, we've got all that sun making electricity, and then this wonderful efficient heat pump takes that electricity and cools the air. It's just a wonderful device, and I like the two technologies working together.
It really is, you've put it best, that it really is a happy marriage with, using the two devices, the two technologies together. One of the things that, Ross has given me the opportunity, my background is energy conservation. Conservation first is something we all believe. And we'd much rather build someone a smaller solar system after they've tightened up their house, after they've done all the energy conservation measures. Then we look at replacing the heating systems. Then we look at replacing, we add solar to the home based on what the home's true load is. One of the things that Ross Solar Group has given me the opportunity to do, and we're building a team of sales professionals to do this, is to implement these measures in average American homes.
Okay, now this is what I'm very excited about. What we're talking about here is not a McMansion. It's not the big homes. We're talking about an average ranch hold, someone who may be on a limited budget, limited income. And Walter, would you tell our listening, our television audience, about the house that you worked on that was an ordinary ranch house, conventional house, and what you did to that house to completely revolutionize its energy picture and lower its bills?
This house was pretty interesting. This family lives in Plainville.
So the family lives in Plainville in a
correct.
What size?
1,800 square foot ranch.
1,800 square foot ranch.
Three bedroom. They had a beautiful family room they never used because it was too expensive to heat in the winter and too tough to cool in the summertime.
Oh, how sad.
So they have a huge portion of this house they never even used.
Oh.
They would hang curtains at the end of the hallway to try to keep the bedroom side of the house cool because they were using window units.
Oh.
They had a 30-year-old boiler, hot water baseboard. They were using, if I remember correctly, about 1,200 gallons of oil a year.
Oh, my goodness.
Their combined energy bills between the oil and electricity was pretty close to about $9,000 a year.
$9,000 a year
that
for
was
heating and electricity
and
for
it was also,
1,800 square foot ranch, because it wasn't properly insulated, probably, was it?
No, and that also included their domestic hot water. So now we actually used the next generation of what you have in your home as far as ductless split technology. It's also made by Daikin. It's called
Daikin, that's D-A-I-K-I-N, correct?
Correct. This system is called the Altherma system. The
All thermal?
Altherma.
The Altherma system.
A-L-T-H, Altherma, A-L-T-H-E-R-M-A. What it does is it actually incorporates thermal solar technology with the air source heat pumps.
Okay, so thermal means water.
Correct.
Water, solar technology.
Correct.
With the heat pump.
Correct. So the beautiful part about this is it gives us a lot more versatility as far as types of media distribution we can have. These folks did not have central air before. They really wanted central air. So
they didn't have any air conditioning?
Just window units.
Window units.
Right.
Oh.
So window units are bad. You can run 3 or 4 window units and have it be more expensive than cooling your entire house with central air.
Wow.
So we started by designing a solution first. This first part of the solution was getting the energy audit done, determining how much insulation we had to add. We tried to shoot for something called 1 CFM.
And what kind of insulation did you use?
We used blown cellulose.
Did you use it in the attic?
We did. Blown cellulose is pretty much the most inert type of insulation that we can recommend. It has no off-gassing. As it compresses, it does act a little bit as an air barrier, has great thermal properties. Mice don't like it. It's fire retardant. It's a win-win situation. There are some rebates available for it. So it became kind of a no-brainer solution. We work very closely with Climate Partners. They're our strategic partner.
Okay, Climate Partners. What is Climate Partners?
Climate Partners is actually a 3-generation business based in Milford, Connecticut.
They've been around for 100 years.
Just about 100 years, yeah.
I like a company that's been around 100 years.
They're owned by the Casey family, and they have. I've worked with them for the better part of the last decade, and we have worked very closely working on energy conservation projects. And when I met the Ross family and I went to work for them, they love the idea of bringing both of these together to be able to offer folks comprehensive measures.
So we're talking about a comprehensive look at the total house energy picture.
Correct.
Revolutionizing the energy picture.
Right. You wouldn't think it's that revolutionary, but there are so few people out there doing it. It really is. I mean, what we do is we take a very holistic look at the house, and we use common sense. Yeah, one of my daughters.
Common sense.
I know. One of my daughters told me the other day that common sense is so rare; it should be considered a superpower. So it's we going back to.
I think everyone should have not only an IQ test; they should have a CS test, a common sense test.
I agree. So going back to what we designed for this family, and the whole thing was, this isn't your average working class family. She's a teacher. He works for a local municipality as an IT director. They don't have millions of dollars. This was a project that they were putting a lot of faith in our ability to deliver and to deliver accurately. We had to completely redesign their electrical load based on something that never existed. Dakin is great working with us because they will, once they collect all the data from us, they'll generate a perfect load telling us exactly how many kilowatt hours a year we're going to need. We then build that into what their generic load was prior, removing some of the things like the old boiler, like the old window air conditioning units.
You took out the old window air conditioners.
Correct.
You took out the old boiler.
Correct.
And then what?
Now we also, by removing all that, we remove their old hot water system, which they used. It's called a tankless coil off the boiler, the most inefficient way you could possibly heat hot water. So now the Altherma system works around several components that really work in harmony with each other. There's the air source heat pump outside. It looks just like the one at your house. You have an air handler in the basement. You have something called the hydro box in the basement, which actually is where the refrigeration exchanges its energy to be delivered to the rest of the house. That hydro box actually exchanges its energy with glycol. Now that glycol can be distributed to the air handler. If we had different types of media in the house, it could be distributed to radiant heat. It could be distributed to an individual fan coil unit if we couldn't get ductwork to a specific area.
So what did you do for these people?
We were able to get ductwork everywhere. We had clean access to their attic. We built a brand new sealed, insulated ductwork system and then covered everything with insulation. The house now, the center point of the Altherma system really is their thermal solar. The tank in the basement becomes the central distribution system. As long as the thermal solar panels are sending energy and keeping that tank stored.
When you're saying thermals are, do you have
Correct.
solar panels on the roof?
Yes,
Do you have solar hot water panels?
solar hot water and photovoltaic.
Solar hot water and solar electric panels.
That's correct.
Both on the roof.
Correct.
And now, what is their bill better and their energy use lower?
Their bill will be virtually net zero. The oil's gone, the tank is gone, there will be no more oil.
They wiped oil from their line.
So the oil bill will never come back. And so far the electric bill is net zero.
The electric bill is net zero.
It's designed to be, when they go through the end of the first cycle, and we just finished up the system, they go through the end of the cycle, one cycle is 1 year, their bill should be zero or slightly negative.
Wow. No electric bill. Okay, then that's going to be their heating, their cooling, their cooking, and their lighting.
And their domestic hot water.
And domestic hot water.
Correct.
So there's no energy bill
No.
for any of those things?
Nope.
In what was a normal 1,800 square foot ranch?
Absolutely correct. Now, the unique thing about this is we made it affordable. After they are done, we offered them a wide variety of different finance options. That the state has some unique programs available. They have the CT solar loan through SunGauge. They have the Smart E-loans.
So you get rid of their energy bills and
Right.
you make what they have to pay to do all this affordable.
Correct. The Smart E-loan the state has, we offered all these to them. They didn't happen to need it. They had a HELOC. They had a home equity line of credit. They had a great interest rate. They ended up having to go back to their bank to get it increased. Their bank was thrilled. Their bank actually gave them additional money based on the savings and the improvements that would be made. They took into consideration the post-completion value of the project.
Wow.
So they were able to get the money they needed for the project. And
The bank was looking forward.
right. One of the things that we try to offer folks is we offer them a kind of an Excel sheet that shows them, based on what the cost of electricity escalating, how quick their money would return.
Right. And you know the cost of electricity is going to go up. You absolutely know that.
We had a very interesting client. She's a brilliant woman and a sweet lady. She did not want to figure any percentage for cost escalation in. She said, I want to figure cost escalation at zero. No problem. At cost escalation at zero, she's still returning 100% of her investment in less than 7 years.
Oh. Now, where else could you ever return your investment 100% in less than...
You can't. You need to, there's no way you can get that kind of return.
That's the best investment you could possibly make, probably.
You can. And the reason that they decided to act now is they saw where the prices of oil are going, where the cost of electricity is going. The one thing they asked if I could fix is the cost of their kids' college education. I said, we're not there yet. We can't quite fix everything.
Yeah, but they're going to have more money for their kids because they're thinking
correct.
ahead in this very wonderful way. And their footprint is smaller, it's greener.
Correct.
So it's to me, has a moral aspect to it as well as a financial, economic aspect.
Absolutely. I mean, people think about the amount of kilowatt hours they save doing solar. But what they don't think about is how much they're really taking off the grid. Our infrastructure is very fragile. I mean, we're anywhere from 50 to 90% inefficient on our grid in Connecticut.
That's right.
No matter how much money CLMP and UI dumps into it, it's still going to be very fragile for years and years and years. So by people taking personal responsibility and accountability for themselves through the programs that are available, we're going to have a lot more. We're going to have a lot better society. We're going to have a lot more people who are going to be,
idea.
Energy independent. And
Take responsibility and help the community by doing this. Yeah. And they're also helping the air we breathe because they're putting less pollutants into the air by using these benign resources.
Yeah. The interesting part is the Altherma system has been in Japan and Europe for almost a decade. It's brand new to this country this year. In April.
This Altherma system has been in Europe and Japan.
Yep, for about a little over a decade. And April.
Why didn't we? Was it the oil lobby? Do you think that's made it?
this is probably won't agree with a lot of people, but unfortunately, our energy policy in this country is not to have an energy policy.
Yes.
And it's tough.
Yes.
It is.
It is.
Yeah. So we have, we take the technology and we embrace it as it comes in. This is something that, the owners of Climate Partners and the owners of Ross have committed to, that when something new comes up, we want to be on the cutting edge, not the bleeding edge, but the cutting edge. We want to be able to offer people energy independence. We know that wealthy people can afford almost anything in Connecticut, but the people who are the average middle Americans cannot. So we tried desperately to make this happen for them. And in the last 4 or 5 months since the All-Thermos been around, we were the first to incorporate it out of any contractor, and we've actually have 7 more systems going in currently. So look forward to.
You're making history in Connecticut with clean energy, and
we'd like to think so.
Yeah, wonderful new system. We're proud of you and proud of all the things you're doing and everything else. I think it's just fantastic. You're a hardworking man, and
thank you.
I'm very, very pleased with Ross Solar, and I'm sure Climate Partners is a great organization too, and all the solar installers are doing a great job. I'm very pleased with the CFIA, the Connecticut Energy Investment Authority.
Well, I got to tell you, we had a very, very unique project in Bethel that we just broke ground this week on, where it was a little bit still average middle American family, but a little bit larger home. We had the toughest time putting financing together, and the folks at CFIA, the folks at SunGage really went out of their way to help us make it possible.
Wonderful.
And it was only through them that this project actually did happen.
Now you can get rebates and tax credits for the people who did this ranch house.
Yeah, I didn't tell you the best part. Where you put your system in, you got possibly some rebates through CLMP. The all-thermal system, because it's completely integrated into the thermal solar, the entire system qualifies for a 30% tax credit.
Oh, that's having your cake and eating it too.
It is. It is definitely a little bit more expensive when you look at the top end number, but when you look at it after the incentives and after the savings, it brings it down to the cost of just.
We hope all our listeners heard this marvelous story of saving energy, and thank you for listening, and I hope you'll get in touch with the people we mentioned and others too to have a better, cleaner environment. It's just wonderful to have you on the show, have Walter on the show, and have good listeners who care about this issue. It makes us very happy, and we're very excited about all these technologies and the win-win that's right available here and now. So we appreciate those who have listened and taken in the wonderful information that Mr. Erikson has told us about in this show. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. It's an honor being on your show.
Thank you.
You've been doing this long before it was cool, and long before anybody else even thought about it. So
and you were a baby.
Yeah, I was in elementary. I was in preschool when you started this. So definitely appreciate the fact you had me on tonight.
Well,
thank you very much.
It's a joy. It's a way to.
And we look forward to having you visit some of our projects.
We'd love that.
So.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
My pleasure.
Thanks for all our listeners.